are some of the most common mistakes that I see in with my students and other amateurs in writing their malware analysis report. So the first mistake, lots of people tend to write the malware story. Like every single step, he opens this file and then he look at the resources. He copy this file from here to here, then he rename it, then he does this, then he does that. Nobody wants to hear the malware story. This is very important. You feel very compelled to mention how the malware workflow goes. He does this, then that. But in most of the malware analysis reports, that flow is not that important. You can dissect this information into different sections inside the report. Let's say the encryption section, and you mention all the type of encryption. The dropper path, and you mention this first it drops the resource file which includes this malware, and then you mention the persistence in the persistence section, the command control in the command control section, and if there is some steps that has to be done to go into the command control section, you may mention that it goes to the command control section after it does the process injection into a browser or something like that. So try to not mention the story and try to dissect it into different parts and put it in the equivalent section. This is the first mistake. The second mistake is that I see, and this is really important part, because there is a big difference between a malware analyst and the reverse engineer. The malware analyst is not just reverse the malware. He doesn't just reverse the malware. He doesn't only see what the malware is doing. Oh, he writes this file, he copies this file, he communicates with this domain. Any application can do that, or any reverse engineer, a skilled reverse engineer, he can give you all the details about the malware. But the malware analyst understands what is the meaning of this behavior. This is very important. So let's say a malware, and that was, I think, was in WannaCry, or it was in WannaCry. So sorry for that. So WannaCry was connecting to a domain, a completely random domain. It looks very random, so long that I don't know, all random, right? And he checks if actually he was able to connect to that domain. And if it does connect to that domain, it terminates the malware. Why a malware is doing that? Why it tries to connect to an unknown domain and checks if this domain is available? Because in lots of sandbox environments, or lots of or with some malware analysts, they use an application like FakeNet. And this application, these sandbox environments, they create a fake kind of fake internet communication. Every time a malware tries to connect to any domain or any IP, it connects back, it sends him a fake HTTP page, or try to make a fake FTP server or fake SMTP server. It tries to always pretend that this service is on, so it can get the malware to get going and send some information or request comments from the attacker or whatever it wants to do. But here's the interesting part. You should not be able to connect to all domains in the world. Like any random domain you are able to connect to. That doesn't happen in normal life, right? So the malware tries to connect to a domain that's not found, and if it's found, he detects that he's in a sandbox environment. So you need to understand the meaning of the behavior and focus on that when you write your report. This is a very important part. The third thing is that they copy a lot. And I find that, there's other reports. We, as, let's say, if you are working in an antivirus company, let's say Symantec, Kaspersky, FireEye, there will be cases when there will be other reports that have released. But you need to do the analysis and show it from your point of view. If there is a Yara rule, or like indication of compromise, any detection code, whatever, for Snort, for Yara, you need to write your own, right? You need to learn how to not copy, but if you feel there's something uncovered, then you have to dig deeper and cover it, and maybe have a touch on your own, include screenshots or include something that's interesting about it. That's all about it, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.